But we've been married for, what, 25 years, haven't we? 6 children.
3 girls, 3 boys.
Must have been about, what, 20 years I worked in security. When I was made redundant, I heard about this course for teaching assistants. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because I like working with kids. That's how I got my present job, working with special needs children. Been doing that for about 10 years now.
I left school at 16. My first job was in a doctor's surgery up until the point I got pregnant, and I brought my children up at home.
You've got 2 addresses now, we don't live together.
Yeah, I lived down the road.
Yeah, family had to split up.
It was really awful for us. I live with my eldest daughter at my sister's, and the rest of the children live with their dad.
You're here at my mum's, been that way for a couple of years now.
My husband sleeps there every night on the floor.
Yeah, literally on the floor.
And our 16-year-old's here.
On the couch, 2 little ones sleep in a sharer bed, in with my mother. My 19-year-old sleeps in that tiny little room round the corner. And my wife's sister's met someone now, she wants to move him in.
Yeah, she's planning on getting married and buying a home, and I really do feel in the way.
How it all happened was, I started this job at the school, so I let housing benefit know, and I mean, straight away they stopped it. And my wages went up and down, didn't they? I mean, if you're working with a child that's making progress, they don't need you as much. And eventually went to full time, so I went back to the housing benefit, filled out all the forms for the wage slips, but I paid what I was told to pay. And then they reviewed me and they said, you're not entitled to the housing benefit and you shouldn't have been last year. So straight away that was half a year to pay back, plus the following year's one. And when it was really bad, I mean, I was the only person working. I had 2 children at university, my wife at college, you know. I mean, my income wasn't that bad, it was $1,000 a month. I mean, we was coping, more or less.
Well, the kids were well clothed and fed.
Yeah, and you get a little bit of help, working tax credit. In a normal week, yes, it's enough to live on. But then the fridge broke, and the cooker, the beds. And what happens is the better your children do, the more expensive it becomes. Our son comes in and says, I've got a geography field trip. I need £85. So if he doesn't do the trip, he can't pass the course. Load of things happened, didn't they? Rent arrears, council tax. We got into a lot of debt. We used to go to meetings and say, look, just give us time. They took us to court. And we've never been in trouble with the law, have we? When I was terrified. Got to the court and I stupidly agreed. I said, yes, I'll pay the rent plus £100 on top. I mean, the judge, if he was clever enough, he had my wage slips right there. He could see I couldn't afford it. 2/3 of my wages was going on rent. He just evicted us, didn't he?
I didn't realise how much debt we were in, to be honest with you. I really didn't have a clue.
Well, it's a nightmare, you know.
I get up at 6 o'clock and take my children to school. Then I meet my husband. Then we just try and
keep out of the way.
Yeah, for as long as possible.
Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky. I've got a job. My wife, she's walking the streets. She got nowhere to go. Do you know what I mean?
In the evening, I help the children do their homework. And then I have to leave and go back down the road to my sister's.
And there's no married life as such. Do you know what I mean?
It causes arguments. It does cause arguments between us, this situation.
And we don't cry around the kids. You know, we do our crying in bed.
I don't want my children seeing me cry because, you know, they've always been such happy, well-balanced children, and that's the way I want it to remain.
What happened was we went to the homeless people part of the council and they arranged to have someone come and see us. And eventually she came and she didn't, you know, I mean, didn't even look around. My wife was crying, she asked a few questions. She just sat there with a smirk on her face.
It's just a mockery. No empathy at all.
So we thought our only option then is to see our MP. And I mean, she is an amazing woman.
Brilliant, I thought.
Yeah, I think she's brilliant. I mean, when we told her our situation, she had a tear in her eye, and she said they shouldn't be splitting families up. People don't get evicted for arrears. I mean, drugs, prostitution.
Or if you're neglecting your children.
Neglect.
But we've done none of that. They could see that we're just a hard-working, good family, and yet we're being punished for that.
Yeah. So she wrote a letter to the council. The council wrote back a load of lies. First of all, they said that our case file had been burnt in a fire. And then they said I didn't turn up to meetings, which is a lie. And they said they didn't get the social services involved because their youngest child was 14.
And she was 7 then.
So our MP introduced us to an organisation for extreme cases, and we meet with them once a week. We just put my appeal in. It's miraculous. We went to the appeal, and the file that was supposed to be destroyed in a fire, well, it reappeared. And my wife's put her appeal in.
It's medical reasons now. My health is suffering because of it all.
Yeah, mine too.
Depression.
The kids, they're really happy though, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they're really upbeat.
Oh.
They keep me sane. They do. They've never ever blamed us for this. Ever.
No. We don't tell anybody about this.
Only our immediate family knows. The private people, we hate all this.
There's a lot of help out there if you're not working. If you are working, it's like you're penalised in a way.
Mm.
You know, maybe if I'd lost my job, I might not have lost my home. Do you know what I mean?
You're labelled as being lazy and what have you.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've done a really good job in rearing my children, and that is hard work. I'm not an envious person. All I want is just a home for my family to live in, and that's not a lot to ask or anything. And well, every month we're saying, oh, we're going now, it'll be soon, and it never is. And if you'd have told me 2 years ago that I'd be homeless like this and separated from my children, I'd have said, no, you're lying.
And when there's children involved, I thought, you know, at least they're not going to treat them badly, put them out. They'll think of their welfare. But the council could have chucked us out in the street. They couldn't have cared less.
It was like they was throwing us on a scrap heap.